Last week and this week were major weeks with planting. You'll see in this video that I ended up doing more than I expected to. So I look forward to seeing how things grow this year. Let me show you what I was working on. So I just got done. My fingers are still dirty, and as a matter of fact, my feet are still dirty too. I feel kind of like a hobbit. Last week up in the food forest, I was able to start focusing on planting some berry bushes and other fruit. So my goal for this year was really just to get started on fruit in the food forest. I wasn't planning on doing much of any other planting, but you'll see in this video that I ended up doing more than I expected to. So I put up a simple trellis with a cattle panel bent over and propped between two T-posts, and that worked really well. On either side of that, I went ahead and put in some grapes. There are, I guess, 3 species of grapes that are really well adapted to Missouri. One of them was Niagara, and there were 2 others. Unfortunately, all of them were sold out when I started looking, so I just got what my local Town and Country happened to have. So I don't know how well they're gonna do, but hopefully they do okay. Then on either side of the grape and in between, I went ahead and got some blueberries. I got different varieties because they need to cross-pollinate to be able to do well. I didn't really realize that, but the woman at the garden center was really helpful with that. So then on the outside of the blueberries, I was able to finally plant my raspberry cuttings. So I made a video a while back about how I got some raspberry cuttings and raspberry root systems from my neighbor who had a whole bunch. And then I also took some cuttings, and then I took some blackberry cuttings from our blackberries and potted them, and honestly I wasn't really sure what to expect. I kind of thought that the stems would just like come back to life. So I was really excited a few weeks ago to start seeing some leaves coming out from the soil, and I thought, oh well, that makes sense. So out of about 22 plants, I think about 7 or 8 of them sent up some leaves. So mainly it was raspberry, but there were a couple blackberry. So I can get some more blackberry from the ones that we have that are outside of the food forest, but I was really happy to plant a whole bunch of raspberry plants in a row between the peach trees. And then on the other side of the peach tree is where the couple of blackberry plants are. It's not totally finished back there, so on that end of the bed, so I didn't do too much over there. But then after I got done with that today, planting the raspberries, I thought, you know, why don't I just go ahead and try to plant some other things? I've had some of these seeds for a couple of years now because we moved here and I got excited and I bought all these seeds, but I didn't use them because we just moved in and it was just a busy time. But I thought, you know, why don't I just try? So I ended up planting a whole bunch today. Along with the plants, you'll notice that I was sprinkling some of this Trifecta Plus. I got this from my gardener a couple of years back. I don't have any experience with it yet, but I'm confident that it's going to do a great job of supercharging the soil. So I sprinkled that. I didn't really follow the directions of how much to use for the plants, but I just kind of sprinkled some here and there. So I ended up planting carrots and then peas. I figured they could share the trellis with the grapes, especially for the first season at least, when the grapes are still getting established and probably won't have any grapes anyway. And then I did some more peas, more carrots. I found that a couple of the packets that I had were actually empty from when I must have tried a couple of years ago, so I just did more of something else. But then I did some butternut squash, plenty of beets, onions, cantaloupe, watermelon, pumpkin, some cauliflower, which I haven't had very good luck growing yet, so maybe this year's the year. And then it started raining on me a little bit, so I kind of hurried up there at the end. Hey, you! Yeah, you! Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video or learned something, can you just like it down below? Thanks! Now out here in this concrete raised bed, I went ahead and made it an entire bed of tomatoes. There's nothing like fresh tomatoes, plus we use plenty of tomato products. So I have a whole bunch of tomato varieties, mainly from Baker Creek, which is where most of my seeds are from, and at my gardener. But then there's some that are just kind of the Dollar Tree seeds. So I went ahead and planted those in here. Now this bed, I want to eventually grow in 100% compost that I make here for free eventually. And you can check out my videos on the composting and how I do that. But I found some bags of topsoil and potting soil. So this is about 25% potting soil, 25% topsoil, and about 50% of my compost. So I think things are going to do really well in here. Plus I sprinkled some Trifecta Plus around here as well. So I'm excited about this bed. I just got to make sure the dog and cat stay out of it, and the kids. So I look forward to seeing how things grow this year. Thanks for joining me. Hey, if you're planting, tell me in the comments what you're going to be growing this year, and I hope it goes well for you. Bye.